Welcome to the Everyday Millionaire Show with Ryan Greenberg and Nick Kalfas. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Millionaire Show. We are here with a repeat guest. We haven't had many repeat guests on the show, I feel like. We've had a couple, but not many. A few. So you're one of the few, Jett. Jett Hennigan with Dreamers Event Rentals, and now we need to come up with a new name for his new venture in the AI space. We haven't come up with a name yet, though.
Still working on a name.
Still working on a name. We'll probably ask AI for good names to name your AI business later.
So that's the thing. The AI coaching business, is that kind of the idea?
It's going to be whether he likes it or not.
Okay, fair enough.
Very early stages, yeah.
Okay, I like it. I think there's a huge space. I'm just going to jump right in. I think there's a huge space for coaching and just actually as a service business coming in and teaching other service businesses how to incorporate AI into the business. We're seeing that a lot right now with real estate agents. Like there's a lot of different people that are offering you how to get leads from AI or how to incorporate AI agents into the background so you don't have to have a transaction manager, or like you can eliminate a few roles. I think that's a huge gap right now in the market.
Yeah, I think it's funny, I was just mentioning that, Ryan, when I first met Ryan, I downloaded ChatGPT for the first time, and I think that was maybe almost at this point 2 years ago. And from the time of downloading that and thinking, like, I think the buzzword around AI is like it can draft an email, it can do those caricature things that, when I call it the residential side, that people like use it for fun. But when it comes to business application, I think the sky's the limit. And to be honest, I think that we've never seen anything like this in our lifetime. And I was watching a video the other day talking about the evolution or, build out of America of like, we used to have we didn't have electricity. Then we got electricity. That was revolutionary. And then buildings and, cars and automotives and stuff. But like
I
AI,
compare it kind of to like the .com bubble. Like
internet was on that
like
list.
Internet time where we didn't have internet. Now we have internet. And then everything was just connected. Like It goes from like everybody's not connected to like everybody's very connected instantly.
And I don't pay attention to like the buzz around like if people still think AI is a bubble, but I can basically go on record and say there's absolutely no way because of what the value it brings. Even if there's breaches or security issues or anything that people have concerns about, I believe that we're shifting towards, I was talking to my wife this morning about it. We're in the beginning stages, so to speak, of like what it can even do, but it's getting so much faster that even like think about this 2 years ago, using ChatGPT for the first time with a simple prompt, and you thought that was revolutionary. Now that's everyday use. We're embedding this thing into literally everything. I have a neighbor. He's a freshman in high school. They literally have trackers like to track or monitor if people are using it to do their homework and stuff. Like he can't just submit it, throw it in AI because they now have blockers. Think about that. I mean, it used to be, hey, you can't have your cell phone in class to look up the answer. Now they're blocking. You can't use AI to do the work for you.
So I don't think it's a question of if. I think it's a question of kind of like how fast it's going to move, and then who are going to be the dominant players. Like I was using Chat until Chase told me to just download Claude. I think you were the one that told me to download Claude. Downloaded Claude, and then I was like, oh wow, Claude's actually better at some of these tasks, some of these things. And then the Claude Cowork came out, and I'm like, whoa, that's a whole nother level of craziness. And now I'm using like Chat for some things, Claude for some things, but there's like other players that are going to keep coming out, large language models, whatever you want to call it, like the OpenClaw of the world and all of these other things. It's like, who do we go with and who do you trust and who are going to be the big like players in this industry?
I think it's just like picking a CRM system at the beginning, at the face value of things, and I think you have to test it. I mean, I started ChatGPT, and then I remember talking with you, and I was like, Gemini's so much better than ChatGPT, and then I tried Claude, and now Claude's even better. So I think they are all leveling up within their own ways. I think what separates Claude and Perplexity from the rest of the pack is connectivity. You can connect directly to QuickBooks Online. I mean, literally I just did it the other day. Prompted, we're in April, and I prompted it and said, compare my April over the past 5 years. And it just spits out everything that you wanted to know. But I think a big thing that I wanted to bring up, at least on this, was the getting lost in the sauce of how many specialty, like all the platforms we use every day, your CRM system, your finance tools, your, quoting or whatever you use, they're building native AI built in. So I use Zoho for my business. They have Zia agents. It's like their own native build out. Doesn't even touch Claude. Like Claude is so much more advanced. I think Claude is kind of the powerhouse above it all, that people are trying to kind of build their own native way. But when you talked about the big player, they're the tech giant right now of these build outs, that I think that the way you can connect to them and prompt it to do the things that it does, I think it's better than the native platforms, because I just don't think they have the backing with development.
I'm gonna get so lost in this podcast because he's a computer guy and you're a computer guy.
Excited to talk
but
about
like the connectivity piece of it, like I was telling Jett the other day, like if I can have an AI agent that went into Buildertrend and connected to Buildertrend, that would save me crazy amounts of time. But Buildertrend doesn't have any API connective things, because I think they're trying to, from what I heard, they're trying to develop their own like in-house AI software or whatever to be within there. But it's not going to be nearly as good as a Claude or a Chat.
At this point, most softwares, if you are a software as a business, it is a minimum that you have some type of AI built into your software at a minimum. And that's why we're going to see they're not going to be good. QuickBooks has AI now. All my CRMs have AI. What was I just on the other day? Relay has AI. Our bank account has AI now built in. And I'm like looking for transactions. I just type it in and it pulls the transaction up, right? So I think they're doing this, and you're right. They don't have the backing to be able to support a really, really good AI. To answer your question, Ryan, which platform do you go with? I think it's going to be evolving. Like Jett was saying, first it was ChatGPT. They were the powerhouse. Nobody could touch them. And then here comes Claude. And then Claude takes over. And here comes Perplexity, that also just now integrates all of the AIs into one platform. And you
Is
can
Claude and Perplexity the same company, Anthropic? Is that the same company?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, Perplexity is now just taking everything that's really good about all of them and packaging it into one for almost the same price.
Yeah.
Except I'm using Perplexity now and substitute a ChatGPT, because now I get Chat and some extra uses on Claude that I don't get. And so I'm paying for Claude and Perplexity at the same time instead of paying for Claude and Chat.
Yeah.
So, Jett, maybe you can do like a third grade explanation of what the difference between like the chat models and then the like the Claude co-work, or the AI agents, I guess I should say, because that, like, I feel like that changed the game in general.
I think it definitely did. It took it up a notch let me backtrack 1 second and just look at that specifically. So like, I guess in my AI journey, and anybody that starts in AI, you went from very, very, very quickly using AI to do one-off things. Write this email, create this photo, write me a blog article, reply, whatever it was one-off. I think the difference in how quickly we're shifting is to agentic AI. Like I said, it's those connectors. It's having access, giving up that access to, and you can set it, which is nice. You can do read-only or you could do write. So, which means, back to third grade level, is imagine, remember like you used to have like a janitor has like all the keys, to get to every room or whatever it is in a school. You have keys to all of your tools that you use. So if you're using Google Drive, Google Calendar, Zoho Mail, whatever it is that you're using, you have a key, and you're giving Claude all those keys at one time, essentially. When you give Claude all the keys to your information or to your access to your systems, it comes along with hands, essentially, is the best way to describe it too, that it can do things. It's not just access to the data, it's little things that say get record, create record, update record. And when you give Claude that access, it can now do things on your behalf. So the next step in it is agentic AI says, hey, I want you to build this quote, for example. Well, it knows where to go. It knows what to look for because you tell it, and then you just keep prompting it. So when I started the building quotes as one workflow a month or so ago, it was horrendous because it was going off of like just using the tools. And then I had to say, hey, if it's on grass, do a pole tent. If it's on asphalt, do a frame tent or whatever. Hey, we format our list of quoted items, like we rent tents, tables, and chairs. If we have tables, it would start putting the tables and then the chairs, and then the dance floor, and then the linens that go to that table up top. One simple, hey, here's an example of what you did. Here's what it needs to be. Now update your memory, update your markdown files, update all of your information on your end. That's my favorite part, is it literally teaches itself. I mean, you have to tell it, but once you tell it to update its memory, it'll say, okay, I understand now, I got it. And it'll go up and update its thing, run the workflow again, and it does it right the next time. So you can literally make it smarter and smarter with every time you're using it.
Yeah, so what I did was I went and downloaded a bunch of PDF files of my estimates that I was sending out for like bathrooms, kitchens, everything, and then uploaded them all, like 40 or 50 of them, and said, study these and know what cost codes we're using and what the pricing is generally on these items and the verbiage that I'm using to write the estimate. So now like I can go into Claude and type, write me a high-end bathroom remodel with a soaking tub and a stand-up shower, and the budgets are this, and it'll line by line write the estimate. But it won't connect to Builder Trend. Mm-hmm. I have to copy and paste each line item, which is still saving me time. But at the end of the day, like if it was just go in there and just do the shit like you have it doing, that would be a massive, massive game changer. And I feel like it's coming, but it's definitely like that part of it is behind on Builder Trend for us. So what is like one of the tasks that you have the coworker, the AI agents doing besides you have it writing quotes for you? So like somebody calls or sends you guys a lead and they want a tent. Your AI agent is now doing all of that?
Yeah, it has workflows built into workflows. So instead of just building a quote, that's one tiny thing. But in order to build a quote, you have to check inventory. You have to pre-qualify and make sure that they're not in California, they're not in Texas. Sometimes they slip through the cracks. So like I've literally trained it to learn like what to do every step of the way. Think of it like this. If you're training a human and it takes, on average 2 weeks or whatever to teach them everything they need to know, and they're writing down notes on their first day of work, they're writing down notes to remember it. That's all these markdown files are, is it's just memory and step-by-step procedures of how to do the things that you're doing to get an outcome, essentially, of what it is. So for me, I'm using it in multiple areas, which is just building the quotes in general. So let's just say that you went on our website and you filled out a form. I can either schedule it, but right now I just do it in batches where I wait until they stack up and I don't do it one off. All the quotes at one time. I did it this morning. We had 6 new leads from last night. And this time was the first time I've ever timed it. It was 6 minutes and 50 seconds to build 6 quotes. So that's 30 minutes with our sales team because you have to check the inventory. You have to, study and analyze. You're just looking at these details and it's like you have to pull up the address on the maps. You have to look at what's available. And it's just a more complex process with all the individual clicking, where what Claude does is it works in batches through this process that it takes all 6 and it can build all 6 at the same time simultaneously while it's doing other things. Email management, I've been slowly building out this next workflow, which is I exported 18,000 emails of my sent folder, which first off, I didn't even know I've sent 18,000 like over all of, I guess, ever since having my account. And so I exported. Now I didn't upload all 18,000. I think it ended up being close to 8,000 or 9,000 because Claude eventually said, like, I understand the persona of what we're working with here. But I basically exported out all of my emails, put it into Claude, and I said, build a persona. What was profound to me was it literally repeated things back to me that I would have guessed about myself, which I thought was wild, which means I feel like it worked. So it said, like, you're more friendly to clients than you are to vendors, so to speak, which I wasn't proud of, but it's what it was. So if we're like buying tents or, dealing with insurance, I am a bit shorter and straight and to the point and just, sending the email. If it's a client, I'm buttering them up and making it nice. And the fact that it kind of picked up on that, and then it knew how I signed off on things. It knows that I format and list. I'm a huge like bullet point person in an email. So now essentially I've taken that and I've connected it to our knowledge base. So I've built out this entire, it connects directly to Zoho. The coolest thing is now in the mornings, I will prompt review my inbox. And again, I could schedule it, but I haven't gotten there yet. So review my inbox, enter, and it'll go through all of my emails. I know it knows exactly through doing this. I've probably been running this one for a week and a half, so it doesn't have as much information of, the retraining, I guess, process. But emails to delete, emails to archive, it'll brief me on the things that are important. And then everything that I'm doing right now is in phases. I don't have it sending directly just yet because I'm still in the review process. I want to review every single thing that it's doing just yet. And then I'll transition off to fully autonomous. But right now, it'll literally draft all the emails like in bulk though. So like that's the cool part. And it will use that reference document before drafting it to sound like me. But when clients need updates, so for example, if you got a quote and Claude built the quote, and then you reply back to me and say, hey, thanks, instead of round tables, can I do rectangle tables? It knows that when I say review email, it's a part of my process that I've integrated into the email workflow that it can go to Zoho, pull up your quote, swap out the rounds to the rectangle, update the quote, and draft the email, but I'm still in the review process. But all I have to do at that point is to make sure you didn't hallucinate or mess up, read the email very quickly that it drafted, and then say go for it, and it can continue to move.
How accurate are you finding those emails to be the drafts right now? Like, is it 80%, 70%, higher?
I'd put it in the 80%, and I think the reason is it just needs more time to develop because...
I feel like 80% is excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's like a crazy good number.
Yeah, I mean, I say it with a little caution just because I think that there's a lot of one-offs in a business. So the standard stuff, I would give it a lot higher. It's those complicated ones that it just hasn't seen yet. I think anytime it hits a new scenario, you have to kind of just keep babysitting it. So I think with that though, like think about it. If I have 20 emails that it reviews and it deletes 11 of them because they're junk, those whatever ones, they note it. Like let's just say payroll's due next Monday. I get these automated reminders from QuickBooks. I just want to know about it, even though I know when payroll is. But like as an example, I just want to know about it and then get rid of it. Like I don't need it. We're good. But I don't want it to like assume that I don't need to know that. So like I want it to note the important things, delete the marketing and spam stuff. And then client related or vendor related, I want it to prompt me and ask me what I want to do with it. That's what's nice though. It's almost like it's 3 actions. It's like prompt the workflow, review the summary that it put together, tell it what to do next to make sure, it's that second phase. And the third is just kind of reviewing and moving on to the next thing.
When you say you want to know about it, what do you mean? Like, what is Claude doing? Like for QuickBooks, for example, is it like putting it in its archive notes, or is it telling you, hey, this is how much payroll is going to be, and then deleting?
Yeah, it's telling me. So I have it building me a chart basically in the actual workflow itself. So I'll prompt it on this monitor, go to work, wait a couple minutes, come back, and then it's a chart with everything that it kind of did, like a summary. So if you take I'll give you a use case. I get these emails. I guess I'm subscribed to like the state of Maryland, law updates, tax updates, etc. The comptroller of Maryland. And there was this huge, you get a long email. Here's all the legislative updates and stuff. I'm not reading that. When you run this workflow, it's going to highlight the bullet points and it's going to tell you like, hey, you got this email that pass-through entity tax is going up 2%, whatever, like effective this date. Like it's just a 1 to 2 sentence summary of the key details of that email. So you don't have to read the whole thing.
And when you are talking about building this out and the markdown files and all of that stuff, are these AI agents within Claude, or is this offline? You've built a folder for an AI agent that is memorizing all of that?
Yeah, so it's a file system on the computer.
That's what I thought.
Yep. But do you know about Dispatch?
That's the ChatGPT. No.
Nah. Do you know Dispatch?
I think
I'm gonna
sound idiotic right now, but here's my shot in the dark. It's from your phone, right?
Yeah.
And you're able to
you
access your
control,
computer.
Yep. So it has Claude in Chrome, and it can I've watched it with my own eyes, like take control of your browser and do some custom thing, some things like that. But the dispatch was cool. I was at a meeting in Dundalk like a couple weeks ago. And before I left Dundalk to go back to the office, I mean, this was a couple of weeks ago that I was just kind of in the middle of building out the build quotes workflow. And from my phone, now you have to have your computer on, otherwise it can't have access to it. But if your computer's on, Claude Dispatch from the Claude app, and I thought about doing it live to do a test, but I didn't leave my computer on. But you can prompt it from here and have access to all of your systems. So it's almost like you can prompt these workflows from anywhere in the world using Claude Dispatch, and it can access everything.
So do you think, because one of the things that I'm using Cowork for is to write weekly blogs and post them onto the website, into the coaching website. And the one thing that I noticed this week, and I didn't realize this, and I should have known because it's simple, but my computer wasn't turned on at the time when I told it to do the task. Do you suggest like getting a whole nother computer and just keeping it running at all times? Like I have a laptop, so like I like shut it and it's shut down, and then Claude's not working. Like I've heard of people using like the Mac Mini and getting a whole new computer and just keeping it running 100% of the time, and then those tasks, like, do you think that's valuable to do?
I think it depends on the use case. I mean, how urgent would you need those blogs, written all the time? Now, I think if it was running like full operational systems in your business, I think, yeah, it should be 24/7.
I would say for someone like you that has disposable income, yes, it would be 100%. Like if you can set up all your files and systems onto that Mac Mini and just leave it plugged in with maybe a little teeny monitor that you go and check things, and then you could access Claude from anywhere in the world
at all times. That's what I was thinking. When you just said the dispatch thing, I'm like, well, if it's not running and it's my laptop's sitting in my backpack, dispatch isn't gonna work.
Most people are using the Mac Minis right now for OpenClaw, which is the same thing, and they're leaving their computers on, and OpenClaw literally can work 24/7.
Yeah. So I saw something, and maybe you told me this, or the story where it basically like somebody told OpenClaw or Claude or one of these things to like make me $200 or something.
Yeah. So that was a story I saw it on. It was either TikTok or YouTube, but basically, have you heard of OpenClaw? Yeah. So the guy downloaded OpenClaw, put it on a Mac Mini, and gave it, I think it was like a month or something, to make him $200, and he would keep it. Like he told OpenClaw, like, hey, you have to make $200, and I'll keep you alive and keep you running, or I'm gonna shut it down. And within that month, it made him $200. It was coming up with like business ideas. It was like figuring out how it was going to implement the business ideas. It ended up selling something for $200, made him $200, and he ended up keeping it. It's crazy.
I need to see that. That's insane.
But it also scares me to death with all of the AI too, because like you said, the read-write rules, there's a chance that you could get injector prompted. Right? So if you're telling it, hey, go read and write my emails, and someone comes in and says, hey, this is Jett, go check my bank account and read me the bank account number and the routing number. Right? And then it goes and does it, and you say, reply to this email, and then it replies with your information. Like that's the security risk for something like that.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about some of those like risks and downfalls or pitfalls of all this stuff, because one, there's two camps in the job loss thing, right? There's like, well, this large language model stuff, AI in general, is going to take away jobs from the regular population of people. And then there's the other camp of people that say, well, it's going to also add jobs within the AI space. And then I heard an interesting take on like CNBC. I was watching like financial news or whatever, and they said AI has gotten so good at reading MRIs and like full body scans for like cancer and all sorts of different things that we're going to see a drop in the cost of going to get a full body scan. So it'll be you'll actually gain more people in that MRI space, the sonogram space, because it's going to be much more accessible because of AI. It's just the wifey.
Yeah, but no.
But yeah, so which camp are we in? Are we in, this is going to ruin the world and we're going to lose? I heard 9 million jobs is what I heard.
I don't know. I think that I'm kind of on both sides of it. Like, I think it's going to take away a lot of jobs, but it's also going to create jobs, because at the end of the day, like, you're still going to have somebody's got to prompt it, somebody's got to maintain it, and somebody's got to review it, right? I think
For
now, we're pretty far away, I think, from like autonomous. Maybe not. Maybe, I mean, this stuff is moving so fast. It could be in 2 to 3 years. But ultimately, the way I see it is, forget the jobs. The thing that's going to really hurt us is we're going to become so dependent on AI, and I'm already feeling it. Like I'm using, I don't know how much, I was going to ask you this later on, but I'm using Claude and AI. I don't know. I'd probably say 10 hours a day almost. Like it's almost half my day I'm like using AI for everything. And so like that's the thing that's super scary for me.
I went to the gym this morning, got out of the gym, went to work, and opened up Claude and worked with Claude until I left and came here. Like I have it open 24/7 and I'm using it too. Let's ask the question, why do you use it? There's one answer. It's faster. Yeah. If you need a document, if you need something done, it is literally faster to, and that's why I think we're dependent on it, because our brain, I mean, this goes back to the Stone Ages, that we're survival skills. We're doing the shortest path, the path to least resistance. And that's what this is, I think, happening in real time, is it's literally slower to go find that file or do that search or create that thing. It's just faster. It's just easier. So that's where I think adapter die comes into play. And you can't be responsible for people's ignorance to ignoring it, I think. So I think it's your own fault if you're believing that it's hype or a bubble or, not for you or whatever. I think it's going to be everyday life. We used to trade by cash, then out comes the credit card. And now it's your watch and all these other devices, the same thing, I think. And the biggest thing that I've kind of compared with or have told other people is, I don't know why, but like a bulldozer, right? I just envision that you're doing a land development project or whatever. Like you have to build a new community. Back in the day, before the bulldozer was what? Shovels? And before shovels, I don't even know what it was. So you would think that you needed all these humans with power to dig the hole. And then a bulldozer comes out, or a bucket scooper. I don't know what the machines are called. Backhoe. Yeah, backhoe. And you could argue that it would wipe out jobs. So I think equipment is a big space that you can build. It's not just informational and technology, driven. I think it's also like, the drones delivering packages and stuff. There's so many other advancements more than just the information side of things.
Yeah, I saw something recently of these robots that people are training with suits. So they're like, humans are wearing like a suit and they're doing tasks around the house. Like the one video I saw on YouTube was they were loading a dishwasher. So they wear this suit, and it's like a full body sensor suit or whatever, and the person loads the dishwasher, and then it uploads that movement to the robot, and then the robot, now it was clunky, but it did it. Like it broke a plate, I think, in the video, but like it did the tasks. So like that's another thing that's coming out, like on the physical, like equipment side, is like these robots are going to come out. Mm-hmm. I think they're not that far behind the software piece of all of this, and that's like another whole level of like, oh shit, where are the job, like where, like if I can have it. And I saw I think it was Boston Dynamics is the company that does I think it's Boston Dynamics, and they make like, they're the ones that make that like dog robot. Mm-hmm. And they had one that was hanging drywall, and they had the one arm had a screw gun like attachment, and then the other one had a thing that held the sheet of drywall up, and it held it up, mm-hmm. and it screwed it in. And like, dude, if I could just buy a one-time robot and be like, hey, hang these 300 sheets of drywall, like that's a game changer. It
is, yeah. And I think the information has to come first because it needs to know what to do. But then the physical world that we live in, where it's performing those types of tasks, So, yeah, I think that's definitely in the future. I mean, I remember when my wife got, what the heck are they called? The Roomba. The Roomba was a big vacuum thing, but that was in our old house, which was easily a couple years ago. But now they have the lawnmower, then they're going to have the bush trimmer. They're going to have so many different tools. So it's coming. It's coming. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely see robots within our lifetime for sure. I mean, I'd say within the next 15 years, if not sooner, especially the way Elon's pushing to get those robots out. But I think, like, for me, though, it's less of, like, the dependency on, like, just because it's fast, but more on, like, the informational side of, like, how much are the kids, like my sister's 13, 14 in middle school, how much information is she going to retain because she just knows she can go to the cheat code and type in AI and it'll get her the answer, right? Like, for example, I feel like I'm really bad at spelling because I was in a world with spell check. So I just relied on spell check to correct everything. Now I'm sitting in front of a client, they ask me to spell their address, and I'm like, how do you spell that? You know what I mean? Like, it's embarrassing. But like, how many kids now are going to grow up and like not know what 4 times 4 is?
Well, when I went to school, and Jett, you and I are closer to the same age than Chase and I, the teachers all said, you got to learn how to do all this math because you're not going to just have a calculator in your pocket all the time.
Yeah, they say that to us too. Yeah.
Like, well, now it turns out we don't only have a calculator. We have a dictionary, a thesaurus, a fucking full information package that can get any piece of information you want on the entire planet within seconds. And that is like, in my head, like just a wild, just from my childhood to now, like where we've come with technology, and we're just at like the precipice or the beginning of this next phase.
Well, if you think about that though, like they could have argued and said that in the early 2000s when I guess Facebook was 04 or something, like when social popped and stuff. Maybe back then, I mean, I was 11 at the time, I guess, something in that range. They probably thought back then that the world was changing and we'll never, nothing will be better than this. How could it possibly get even better? That's where I think I kind of take a step back and I say, okay, this is moving so fast, but like, can you imagine 100 years from now? Like, can you imagine even 50? Like, what changed from 2018 or even 2020 during COVID to now? Like, it's just gone so fast. And I remember seeing something in high school about that like the compounding, I don't know, you guys might know more than I do about it, but it's like information or technology or advancement or whatever, like it compounds and it's getting faster and faster. So like it took us forever to get to this point. Now it's going straight up. Yeah. That's what's insane to me.
Yeah, I just feel like the .com era, like the internet era, had that big like refusal of like joining it. And I think the AI world does too. Like, all the people in their mid 50s, 60s, like they're probably refusing to join it because same thing, right? It's change, it's new, they don't trust it, whatever. But at least with the informational era of .com is like you go on there, you learn something, and then you retained it. Now it's like, hey, chat, what's this, that, and the third, and it's like you're not retaining that because like you don't need to. You just go back to this.
But arguably on the other side, to like Stoneman, that is like, okay, yeah, maybe you're not retaining it, but is your bandwidth now much greater because you don't have to retain it? Like you have more room up in your noggin because you don't have to remember shit.
I would agree. I think the problem is like what you prioritize to retain. You know what I mean? Like for me, there's a lot of things that I retain. I'm like, why do I remember this? And
I think the only thing you have to retain is how to use this shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the best part for me.
As long as you know your Wi-Fi password, that's all you need to remember.
Yeah. No, I think that's true though. Like what you said is true, but on the other side of it, it's like, okay, well, if my brain is free of trying to remember what this 2 + 2 formula is, or what pi r squared does, like if I don't have to remember that, can I be doing actively something else to further my business, be with my family, whatever?
So I think I, and Jett are different types of people though, right? Like we're drivers. There's not a lot of drivers in the world. There's a lot of people that are going to adapt AI. They're going to use it and become dependent on it. It's kind of what I'm saying. Like for us, it's like, okay, next play, right? But for a lot of people, it's going to be like, well, great. Now I don't have to use anything else. I don't have to use any more brain power. Now I can go watch TikTok all day. You know what I mean? That's kind of I'm seeing it from the average Joe.
I mean, I think those people are going to be those people no matter what. Though they're going to be like the guy on the couch, or it's the guy on the bike. It's like I think there's two different people no matter what, and I think this is just going to further divide that gap, and there's going to be the block. Like what's that? Wall-E? Is that
it? Might be Wall-E that they're like on
just
the floating beds.
Yeah. They're just like, it's like a futuristic like human society of just like blob things because their technology just does everything for you. Even just like simple things like and this isn't even really with AI, but like where we've gotten to with shopping. Like yesterday I was fixing my pressure washer outside, and I had to get oil for the pump. And it was 2 hours to get oil on Amazon to my house. I'm like, I could have probably gotten it in less than an hour, But in that time, I was able to do all these other tasks, not driving to the store, not spending gas, not whatever. And that shit just arrived at my house and I didn't have to think about it. That has revolutionized, like where some people would say, oh, well, I could sit down and watch TV and wait for this thing to come. The drivers of the world, or whatever you want to call it, they're like, oh, well, I could do this, this, and this while waiting for this to do this for me. And then now I'm like exponentially growing at a rate that it would be impossible to grow at without this service.
Well, that's why I agree more with Ryan than I guess Chase on the specifically like the retention part of things. I feel that ever since using it, it's definitely expanded my brain and like how I think, because I look at it as a motivator. So remember when you were in school and they throw the textbook down and you have to read, pages 13 to 50 or whatever it was, you hate it. Like you're not motivated to do those things and learn and retain that information. But when it's using tools like this, there's that never ending curiosity. And I will say it's kind of addicting to where it's like you want more and you want more and you want more. Like if it can do this, let me see, wait a second. And your creativity is on steroids. Like I think when you're doing it yourself, if you think about like the stereotypical like corporate worker that's just burnt out and can't seem to solve this problem, AI allows you to expand upon your own ideas. And I think that's what is the magic in it.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I am very pro AI.
Yeah.
We were talking about cons, and I think that would be a con for like majority of America, along with like the job loss and stuff. But I also think there's going to be a ton of jobs created, just like with the .com era. Now you have people they're millionaires from TikTok and YouTube and different platforms, right? So I think there's a lot of money to be made, and I think that we're just going to see how far it can go.
I mean, dude, just without even really knowing all that much, the amount of money that I made just on buying NVIDIA stock is absolutely insane. And they're like the driving force behind all the compute right now. It's like NVIDIA's they just crossed $5 trillion in market cap again yesterday. And there's so much opportunity in the hardware side of this too, that like all of like, even just from the contracting perspective, I was looking at government contracts the other day, building data centers. Like how to get into that. Like there's so much demand right now for contractors to build data centers. And there's one going up on Route 3, like down in like Crofton right now. And it's such an easy thing to do because you're just building a concrete building. There's like no windows, there's no nothing. It's just meant for servers and cooling. Like that's all it's going to be. And that is just in the contracting space. And then you have the chips. That's like NVIDIA, AMD, all of those companies. There's just like so much opportunity to make money in this space, whether it's investing in it, using it. But if you're left behind, I feel like in the next year, if you don't adapt, you're going to be left behind in such a way that it will be detrimental to your life and your business. Like if you're a business owner specifically, even just a regular employee, but if you're a business owner and you don't adapt to this, we're going to beat you. Like there's just no questions.
Yeah. I want to jump into some more tactical stuff that we were kind of talking about earlier real quick. As far as like how you're using AI and the agentic agents in your business, I know you used to use ClickUp. Do you still use ClickUp? Are you, this is wild because I use ClickUp too right after. Are you using it in a way to like, I've used it to go into ClickUp and write SOPs, right? Or to build out checklists. Like, what are some use cases that you're using it other than just like email management and like some of the basics?
So I only use ClickUp. That's a lie. I do use it a little bit more than this, but I use it more for my daily planning and kind of like my calendar, my day-to-day tasks, my like quarterly, weekly, goals, objectives, things like that. I honestly, I don't use it because you can like integrate your email and CRM or you could build it out pretty custom in there. I use a lot of Zoho for all of that stuff. So I really, honestly, it's like an overpaid, glorified like daily planner for me at least. I've tried a bunch of other tools and I think I just love the click and drag and drop task, management in their platform. But the other ones are going to be SEO driven, Google ads driven. I had to completely audit my entire account. Compare it against benchmarks for whatever's public information. We've used it for prospecting. So this was insane to me. I used to have this Google sheet and this was probably 2023 or 24. I would go on Google and literally type in like event planners near me, caterers near Severna Park or whatever. And I'm individually looking at their website, looking at this, looking at that. And the fact that you can now with Claude connecting to Appify, which is basically a lead scraping tool and an application, I guess you could say create marketplace, so to speak. You can do lead scraping and you could literally prompt it what you want, tell it what you need, and have 200 plus leads in a matter of minutes. Like legitimately, like everything that I was doing individually, you can do in minutes there. So when I prompted that one and built that workflow out and I just watched every line just go one after another within seconds, that's what just kind of took it to another level. So now I have all these contacts. So then the next step is building a workflow on top of that. That's where I meant the creativity part is like, gee, I wonder if it can, prospect for me or just lead scrape and get all these leads really quickly. It did. So then I'm like, I wonder if it can take that information and find the point of contact, because sometimes it'll give you the info ad or the help ad, whatever, and it doesn't give you the direct point of contact. So then you can prompt it and tell it what to look for and run it again to get like hunter.io and finder.something that can pull personal information. It's all public record. So it's not like it's anything, shady. It's completely public and you can grab the contact information of the person, hopefully getting closer to who you need to contact to get that deal or to make that connection. But then you're asking it to develop or create personalized outreach directly for whether it's a caterer, because we're talking catering and event planning and photography are three completely different industries. I don't want to send some generic, hey, my name's Jett, I would like to partner with you. I want you to go to their website, find an interesting point of, something or whatever to say about it or whatever, and you're just developing out these personalized emails, putting them in a Google Sheet, and then reviewing them first. Once you update the status for that review check, and then it sends it off automatically. So like you can contact a lot of people at once versus doing it one-off. So that was one of the game changers. The SEO is unbelievable. I have that one on a schedule right now. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have it doing the research, creating the articles, following the same template and theme, because that's one thing I struggled with in the past. I was using the blog generator before, building my own workflow, but this one now has its own kind of design theme, which Claude Design we haven't even brought up yet. Have you know about Claude Design?
No.
Claude Design's the next big thing in developing full-blown design applications of anything, websites. So I used Claude Cowork in my Google Ads management, project, so to speak. It's got markdown files of what my targets are, what my historical data within Google Ads. And it identified that our display ads were underperforming. Pause them right now. We need to high bounce rate, etc. through the audit that I put it through. And then, so I go to Claude Design and I said, I need some new ads. Our ads aren't performing very well. It gave me over 77 media assets using, because it's connected to Zoho Work Drive, which is where all of our images are. It found the most relevant based on the campaign build outs that we already had. So I think that's what's insane is like you're gonna spend all day, all week, all month, building out ad campaigns, reviewing the data, knowing where the leaks are and stuff. Where I basically said, hey, you have access to my Google Ads. Tell me where I need to improve. It said display campaigns. I go over to Claude Design and say, hey, my ads suck. I need new ads. It pumps out what I think is really, really good banner ads now, display ads. And now I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to put them back in and turn it back on and see if that shows improvement. And if that's the case, see, we haven't even talked about like return on investment or return on time, return on whatever you want. If you think about the manual process of that versus the automated process, that's where I think it's invaluable. Speed, convenience, accuracy, aesthetically pleasing, like it can design better than I can. It's just that it's a home run in terms of what it can do. And like you said, you're going to get beat in the long run because of speed, of being able to output the result that we're both looking for. If you're running ads and I'm running ads, but you don't know if yours are failing other than your own manual review, which is really up to your own manual opinion. It's not comparing against historical data. It's not comparing against, or notifying you when things go wrong. I mean, how many ad accounts out there are paying for ads that go to broken links or expired domains or whatever, and it's all wasted ad spend. But if you build agentic AI agents that are monitoring your SEO, so I already have one on, it's connected to Google Search Console. Anytime you throw in where look at my rankings, build the thresholds around the page ranking and the keyword ranking. If anything goes haywire or the site goes down or the sitemap, whatever, Flag me, let me know immediately. Like, it's almost like having eyes in the areas, you wear a lot of hats in a business. It's having eyes in all areas that you otherwise aren't paying attention to, those blind spots.
So one thing that I noticed is, so my Google right now is doing really well. Like the marketing company that I hired is doing really well with my Google search. Like I'm ranking very high on that. But I noticed, because I tested it with a couple different large language models, Gemini, I did, and that's connected to Google, and I did Claude and ChatGPT. I'm not ranking, because there's a whole nother, besides SEO, it's like AIEO or whatever, however you want to, whatever acronym you want to put there. But like when I search for home remodeling companies in Severna Park in chat, I'm not coming up. So have you like dug into that at all? Like if people in your area, your service area are looking for tent companies, are you populating in the large language models? Your business?
I'll be honest, I never even looked. I haven't gotten into that space yet. No, I've been focused more so on just getting the content out, because I always go back to the principle of Google. Google is a search engine, by default. So like they want to give you relevant information. If you built a house for somebody and it fell down, the next person's not going to buy a house from you. If you go to Google and search something and it doesn't give you relevant results, you're probably not going to go back to search something else because it didn't do what it was designed to do. So with SEO, I think a lot of people have forgotten about SEO because they think of it as like strictly just page ranking or keyword ranking, but it's more of the conversational piece, and it's for AI scraping that information. So my objective with kind of focusing on the article and content first, if it wasn't the past couple of months where we've actually developed, and posted articles, the last blog we typed was probably by me manually or by back in the beginning stages of AI. Hey, write me an article. I just copied it and pasted it. Exclude maybe 5 of those the past 2 years. I haven't wrote an article in years, so there's no fresh content because it's time consuming. The business owner, it's the last thing you want to do is log in the morning. Let me write this article. So I think those types of, pieces, I don't think that's where people should be spending their time, unless that's your secret sauce, unless you are legitimately like a big blog. I mean, there's really no other reason for you to sit down and make that a part of your daily routine. Those are the types of areas that I don't think you should neglect like I did, and I think many, many people do, because I do see a tremendous value in it, but I also don't think you should be making it a full time. That's like a perfect space for AI to take over.
So are you saying that SEO still holds more weight and will continue to hold more weight than AI recommendations or people using AI to find businesses?
I don't know if it's more, but I do think that it's still relevant. I think people have not prioritized it because you can run Google ads very quickly. You can run Facebook ads very quickly. You can post organic content. I mean, you're the one that teaches me a lot about the social platforms changing and evolving. Google, I think, is the exact same way, but it's still, at the end of the day, is using, where's that information coming from? It's using the information that people put on the internet, that put it, and that's like transcribing down to videos. So I'm not big on, I like social. I'm not like a social expert, so to speak, but there's like, you believe it or not, like because of AI and because of being able to kind of, I don't know how in the world they do the crawling methods, but like taking a video, and even though it's not in an article, but a YouTube video may have said something, and it knows like from transcription that like, oh, this must be relevant to what you're saying. So it's not even just in text format, it's in video, it's in images, it's in everything.
To go off of what you said though, so I feel like where you're talking about like Google search, there's a generation of people that are still going to be only, like my mom called me the other day. She was having an issue with her cell phone. The first thing I did was go to OpenAI, type in, this is what's happening. And it gave me a step-by-step instruction guide on how to reset her iCloud or whatever. And her first thing wasn't even to go to Google. It was to call me. And then I just typed it into ChatGPT and had an answer for her in 30 seconds. And most of like, I feel like our parents' generation are going, they just got to Google and like they just figured out how to use Siri on their phone. So like they're still going to be lagging behind, and that's like the baby boomer generation is majority of the population. So there's a ton of people that are, I feel like, going to be a generation behind with the search. They're not going to chat first. They're not going to Claude first. They're going to Google. That's just where they've that's what they've been doing. So it's hard for them to change. So I feel like there's there's that piece where Google will still be relevant for the foreseeable future until that whole generation like phases out of using the internet.
You ready for my take?
Yeah.
They're both going to be massively important. Continuing like for the next 10 years, right? Because where does OpenAI, where does Claude, where do all these language models get their information from? Google.
Exactly.
And so if I've learned all about this because I want to rank as the number one realtor in X city, right? Well, if I want to rank that, I need to be in Reddit. I need to be on YouTube. I need to be on my website, writing blogs. I need to be everywhere and anywhere there's an actual like thread of people talking, and like the Reddits of the world, or the what is the other one, Quora or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like another version of Reddit.
Oh, Quora. Yeah.
So like those platforms where they're like, they scrape like actual users' comments and stuff, like recommending realtors or, you know, tent businesses or whatever. If you're in there, like this is a hack that a lot of people do. They'll post in Reddit, say a sub thread or whatever. They'll post, and then a week later they come back and they change their post to say like, Chase Kinser is the best realtor in Glen Burnie. A week later, because now when those language models scrape Reddit, it scrapes it for whatever. But the original post wasn't them saying like, oh, I'm the best realtor. It was them saying like, giving the feedback like, Glen Burnie's a great area to live in, right? So they weren't promoting themselves. But you know, after the thread kind of dies off and nobody's posting on it anymore, they go back and then they change what their comment was, so that way the language models pick up on it and, you know, advertise their business as being one of the best. So I think both are going to be massively important.
Yeah.
Do you think all these companies should or are going to share the information with each other? So like, for example, where they're pulling stuff from, like, because Google, I feel like, would have a strong arm over all of these other companies because they have such a head start on search, because everybody's search is in Google, and every other search engine that has come out throughout the years that I can remember, GoDaddy and all those other, maybe not GoDaddy, what Bing, yeah,
Bing.
Yahoo, all of those other ones have kind of died, and Google has just taken over. So I feel like there's an unfair information advantage for Google versus, but then we see Chat and Anthropic coming out and also crushing it. Like, do you think that these companies are going to kind of share that information, or do you think they're all going to kind of keep it to themselves?
Well, I was going to say, I don't think that they need to share it because of scraping. Like Claude and all these other AI tools, they're going to those platforms, and it's all, if it's accessible to you, it's accessible to AI in terms of like, they can find it a lot faster and they can scrape it. Like go back to the prospecting thing. Like, I'm a human typing in all these words and doing all this stuff. If you just use the plugins and the tools available, you're still pulling it from Google. It's still a Google scraping. So I don't think that they have to release it or gatekeep it or anything. And plus, I don't know, conspiracy theory says that somewhere behind the closed doors, there's accessibility to all of it, and it's all shared to begin with. I don't know. That's my...
I would say I don't know how they would block like a Claude from getting access to Google, because then you could just give Claude access to your PC or whatever, and it could pretend like it's you.
Well, no, I mean, like, okay, so Google knows how many people search for realtors in Glen Burnie, right? Google knows that information. It doesn't necessarily have to be public record of how many people have made that search, right?
Yeah, but there's other websites that pull that information and display that information as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's like one thing that I was thinking of, like, on who to pick, because one of the things that is interesting to me is the private equity space right now. Like, it's booming with opportunities that could either be a huge win or a huge loss. Like, my Merrill Lynch advisor, we were talking about getting into Anthropic, and right now their valuation is absolutely bonkers, crazy, but there's an argument that says it's still way low because we're so early on, but it's a huge risk to get into this private equity space right now with where the value is, because if it does bust, you basically just lose everything. And there's no, like, you're locked in for a certain amount of time. You can't sell the shares. And then if it doesn't IPO for X plus whatever, you're going to lose everything.
My first thought is, could you not just look at ChatGPT? because they were the front runner, and now they've kind of slowed down. And it's not like they've busted yet, but like now Claude has kind of taken the reins.
So there was 3 companies that we were looking at to get into the private equity. One was OpenAI, one was XAI or SpaceX, like because Elon's thing is he could potentially be pulling all of his companies together into one. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, the forward look on value of that company is like nothing we've ever seen before. If he puts together SpaceX, Twitter, or X and XAI into one company, like that's going to be the most valuable company on the planet. And so we were looking at that, and then we were looking at so OpenAI, Anthropic, and then the Elon Musk's umbrella, I guess would be the thing to say. But again, there's just a lot of risk in all 3 of those things because we just don't know where the value is going. It's like right now doubling year over year. Like and there's no true market for it except in the private equity space. And that's not a good benchmark of value because people that get into private equity, they have to be accredited investors. They have disposable income. It's not like an open market where the stock market and the other true open free markets have a lot more data, a lot more information of people that are buying and selling. And, so I don't know. I think that there are going to be some huge winners and some huge losers depending on the company and, what they do and where they get to. But that's one of the things that I've been like stuck on. It's like, which company do I put my chips on?
Yeah. I never remember this word. It's volatility. Yeah. Is that when things go up and down, you're uncertain, et cetera? Volatility. I think that's going to be profound because, think of, I think of 3D printers. So 3D printing can build things, you take a design, you build it in the machine, and then you have it. I think we're being very resourceful as a society that if you need a cup or a spoon or a fork, or whatever, if you really need to, like you could literally make it in 3D. I think the same thing's applying at least in my business. I can start in the morning. It depends. If it's a small project, I'm not talking like a huge workflow. I'm talking like if I just need something, I can prompt it with Claude, even if it's from an inspirational aspect or like a creative aspect or a brainstorming aspect, and I can have something at the end of the day, like a tangible thing, whether it's an application or it's a way that we, report on the quality of the tents. We built a new system for that. As from the field, they fill out a form. It goes into this custom report that Claude built out, and it's like a full-on dashboard. Same thing with our inventory tracking. We used to have just a native report in Zoho that said how much stuff we have and how much stuff is going out. You couldn't even add a formula field on that report to say this is the difference of what's available. Claude integrates with our stuff, so it literally developed all the functionality. So now you can take a quote ID, which is just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quote number, plug it into the inventory report, and instead of having to manually go through, okay, Chase wants to rent a 20 by 20, we have it available. Does he have, round tables? We have that available too. You don't even need to check it. You take the quote ID and you plug it in at the top and hit check, and but the application that was built by Claude checks the inventory for you and then it gives you a green check if everything's available, gives you a red X if it's not available. So like even something so small like that, human error, you're cross-referencing, et cetera. But I think people can be behind a computer and tomorrow have something that's revolutionary. I think the barrier to entry is a lot faster. So when you sit there and say like, where do you put your money or where this, I think it is a bit more risky because not many companies, I think companies are getting knocked off a lot faster. It was a big deal when Blockbuster and that was our lifetime of like these big companies going out. I think that's going to happen a lot faster and a lot more frequent because it's just the competitiveness has gotten a lot higher.
So now the question is now for you, like, how can you take these applications or workflows and like white glove them and sell them to other people, right? Like that's where I feel like the opportunity is for you. And that's why we brought you on here too, is to talk about the opportunities that you have to teach people and integrate AI into their businesses, but not only like a one-on-one coaching model or a consulting model is like, hey, I have this is my all my different applications. You can buy them. You can have a monthly subscription to this. If you're a tent company and you can take that workflow that you built and sell it to somebody on a subscription base, that's like, could be massive. Even if it's not a subscription, even if it's just a one-off. Like here, this is $5,000 and you'll never have to hire another person to write a quote again.
The thing is, they already have that. I think the bigger part for him would be, or anybody looking in the spaces like I was talking about earlier, is you need that integrator. You need that person to come in and see your problems and be able to say, look, this is how this sales agent's going to fix that. This is how this operations agent's going to fix that. This is how, you know what I mean? Like him coming in and actually seeing, because like it's easy to say like, oh, here's a generic bot, but then it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't know how to use ChatGPT. I'm not going to know how to tell this bot what to do, but he'll be like, all right, here, this is the system, this is the workflow. You're going to say this every morning. You're going to wake up and say, give me a summary of my emails, and this is what that's going to give you, so on and so forth.
Where I see it happening, or where I see the massive value add, is going to be in personalization. So because I just got done saying like, okay, cool, I do, great. And I'm sure you guys could too, go behind there and prompt Claude properly to develop a custom application of whatever it is. You were talking about Builder Trend not having like API access or access to Claude directly. Theoretically, you could go into Claude and say, hey, I don't even want to use Builder Trend anymore. I want to build my own CRM. Like that's what I was kind of saying. Like if you need it, it can output whatever you need for your business. So I think right now, yes, I have that skill. Maybe you guys could too. I don't know like how much you're using it or whatever, but you could theoretically go on that computer and build whatever you want to build for yourself. Where I think the magic lies is going to be personalization, that, okay, well, you do things a little bit differently than you do. I think people are pumping out tools and out of the box tools that they say, hey, it worked for my business and it'll work for you. All you got to do is create an account and here's what this tool does. I think those one-off tools are cool, but I don't think we're very far away from being able to, everyone can build it. What's going to be different to me, or where I see it happening, is the personalization, those markdown files. The markdown file is the magic for me, because that's what holds true to my company, specifically. So I could take the building quote, workflow, or the SEO workflow, those SEO, the blog articles being drafted, and then social on top of that. So if you go to our Facebook page, I'm still working on Instagram, but on the Facebook page, so now all I have to do, I'm one step in the middle. So it does the research on what to write about. It already has like the breakdown that's not very like innovative or new, like anyone can do that. But the second step is it develops it, puts it in that theme like I was talking about, but also internal linking. So the last time I had, I think it was Gemini drafting blog articles, like part of SEO and authority is the internal and outbound linking process to get links coming in and links interlinking in between your own website. So if it links and talks about sailcloth pole tents, like it's linking to that page. If it's clear tops, it's linking to that page, which just boosts authority for that article to do better. But that information isn't coming from just anywhere. It's coming from the markdown file. So to me, the magic's in the markdown, that it's integrated to our products. It's integrated to our data. It's integrated to everything, that now it's not just write me an article about, top trends for the weddings, or what. It's like literally taking information from our personal business, like our business, and creating content about that.
But for you as like, let's just call it a consultant on this, you could make a SOP of like, okay, you're going to go into any business. Let's start with your emails. Let's pull all of your emails out and put them into this. Let's start with the proposals. Let's take all the proposals and put them into this to help prompt those people to be able to do it. Because I feel like there's a lot of people, probably including myself, that is only using a fraction of this because I don't fully understand. And I would be willing to pay somebody to come in and be like, this is the step-by-step instruction guide on how to get all of the markdown files right from your perspective. Like, it wouldn't take you more than 10 minutes of talking to a business owner to see where that information would lie, whether it's in their CRM, it's in their software that they use for project management or whatever. Like, that information is there somewhere, and a short conversation with anybody with a brain could figure out where that information is and what to do with it to make those markdown files, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could also just ask Claude how to do it. I'm sure that's
no, but I think there's people that aren't there yet. That aren't.
Yeah. No. I'm saying like I agree. I think that's the implementer that I was kind of talking about, is that person that can come in, ask the business like all the things that they are customized to their business, and then, like you were mentioning, everybody has their own way of doing things, right? So it could take you like 2 or 3 minutes to be like, hey, I'm in the real estate industry. Give me some really unique ways that they run their SOPs, or, you know, different buyer presentations, or what have you. And then you bring that creativity to them. They customize it in those markdown files. And then all of a sudden they have ideas that they didn't even think about. And now they're running their processes 100 times better.
I mean, just think, without AI, you pay me to learn your business and help you that, and I'm way dumber than an AI computer, right? Like,
dude, I don't see how coaching lasts. I truly don't. I don't see it. I mean, I see it in the customization. Like, coaches are going to have to get super custom to what they're talking about and being able to help people implement different things, because ultimately you could just go to Claude.
I don't pay you for, I guess the AI piece, or what I could prompt or ask AI for. I think it's the human piece. I mean, I posted last week about AI. He shares the post, I get 6 Facebook messages. I'm not going to say it's the only reason, but I think it's the connectivity and the partnership that, I mean, as much as we are the fast-paced world that we live in, like, let's just say the prospecting tool can do 200 emails or you know, and customize this and send this all automated, and all you have to do is review it. It sounds nice and all, but deals are done by trust, not one email, and you still need to get that call booked. And I was just on an AI call on Monday. That was from what you shared. Hey, I saw Ryan, you know, I saw the post that Ryan shared that blah, blah. I wouldn't have had that connection if it wasn't for you sharing that post, you know? So I think that there is still value in the things that we're doing. And to be honest, if I'm being brutally honest, I think that's where the value does lie, is in the human interactive, you know, connectivity of the world. Because building a quote doesn't necessarily, like, anything not robotic, you know, like digital or processing of information or computer work. That's the stuff that doesn't matter how nice or friendly you are. If you're in a good mood or a bad mood, if Chase and I were on computers side by side and we both built a quote in my system, it's going to look the same no matter what. But if he answers the phone and I answer the phone, and it's super personal or super not or whatever, like, that human piece, those connectivities and relationships, you can't touch that. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's where the value still holds.
Yeah, not yet anyway, until it learns how to be exactly like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got the voice cloning and stuff, but I do think there's apprehension on voice. I think when it's a restaurant or booking a reservation or doing some, like, you know,
you call my company right now, you're getting an AI bot that answers, and I have had bad feedback from some people, but it's majority not bad feedback. It's like some people, because I could see the transcribed you know, conversation that it has. Her name's Rosie. She answers the phone. She's very nice. And it'll say, like, the person will say, like, I want to speak to a human. And then I know, like, that's not good feedback for Rosie. Yeah. Like, sorry, Rosie, like, she doesn't want to talk to you. And then Rosie knows that if the person says anything about property management, it forwards the call to Jocelyn. If it says anything about construction, it asks, do you want an estimate? And then it'll text them a link to our estimate software. Like, it'll do that workflow for you. But I have had people that have said, I want to talk to a human. Like, that's the first thing when they say, hey, you know, Rosie's intro, I want to talk to a human. And there's still going to be, I feel like, a lot of people that are on that. I want to talk to a human. I do it when I call the bank or whatever. I'm like, representative. Like, give me a fucking representative, please. Yeah. Representative. And eventually, you know, you get to somebody. I remember going through all this shit with the mortgage companies when I was doing this big refinance, and I could not get some of my payoff statements, and I could not get to a human. It was like impossible to get to a human, and I was so frustrated. I was yelling and cursing at computers on the phone, like, I need to speak to a human being. Please talk, like, put a human being on the phone. So yeah, that I still think we're a little ways off from being fully autonomous with the personal aspect of it.
I think it's beneficial and more advantageous for the business than it is the caller. And I think that's where it holds value for the business, because if you are, especially in customer service, if you're trying to cancel your subscription or whatever, and it's a human, and I think the human, like, you know, I don't know, sympathizer has emotion, where the AI, like, strictly, you know, sticks to the script or sticks to the points, like, hey, can you waive my fees or whatever. Like the end user, it's a human. They're like, well, I'm having I feel bad for you, or I'm going to buy your story or whatever. Or they're not good at negotiating, or like if they're not good at having those verbal skills in customer service, if it's AI, like it's an AI voice, like it's just repetitive. I'm sorry, can't help you with that. Like I can't do that for you. I wish I could. I can't. Like I think it's going to be more of a guardrail for a business to stick to policy, because who cares? You can yell at it. You're yelling at the computer. Like people are going to yell into the phone like that, and nothing. You're still going to get the same outcome. If it's a human, can I get a refund on this product or whatever? And they don't stick to policy. Like sometimes, we all bend and break, and well, it's Sally. She's rented from us for 3 years. We might as well, give her a full refund. I just think there's more emotion attached, where if it's AI, they don't care.
I think that's good and bad, though. I think it's bad when they are just a robot and the client's yelling at it, and now you have 7 bad Google reviews because you had a robot not get, like Limit just sent me a sample pack because I've been buying from them, right? Like that would give me a good review for them because they did something out of emotion, maybe the kindness of their heart, whatever. But like same thing, that sales representative's like, yeah, like Amazon's really good at this. When I want to return a package, they're like, yeah, sure, here, keep the package, we'll refund you the full price. And I'm talking to a human. If it's the robot and they're like, no, sorry, we can't do it,
right,
I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then like that could have me leave a bad review for your company.
Yeah.
So I think there's like a line there that I don't know where we find it, but
right,
there's definitely a line in the sand.
Yeah. So I got one quick thing, and then we'll wrap it up here. The next 2 years, and if you were to ask me 2 years ago where we would be now with AI, I would have been wrong. I would have been way.
I don't even think I knew about AI 2 years ago.
That's like kind of when I feel like I started using like ChatGPT. It was like 2 years ago.
I did, yeah.
And I feel like if you were to ask me then about integrating like co-work into your actual computer files, and like one of the quick prompts that I did was like go through all of my files and find any duplicates and put them in a folder so I can delete it, because I have so many. I have like 100 gigs of documents that are just doubles. And I would have never put that on the radar for, if I, drafting emails, all the stuff that we were using it for day one to now. I would have been wrong. What is your sight on 2 years from now with this space?
That's a good question.
Like you guys you drive Tesla, right? You both drive Teslas.
Yeah, we fanboyed about it when he
so you both drive Teslas, and over the last few years, your cars have gotten better at tasks, at driving, at autonomy, right? Yeah. Like I know because we just bought Page or Rivian, they're still like coming out with the fully autonomous stuff. They're not there yet. Where Tesla has evolved in a much faster way than Rivian, I think because of just miles on the road and the sheer amount of cars that it has. Where, like, do you see your cars? We'll just take your cars. Do you see the vision that Elon says where it's gonna, like, is it good enough where you could be in your driveway, put in an address, and then be at the next address without any input from you?
Yes, already. Like
2
that.
2 years.
I can already do it. I can already do it. I at home, I put in work. I put my foot on the brake and I press start. It'll drive me all the way here and park me now in my parking spot, in any of the parking spots outside. What I would say is coming before the next 2 years is completely autonomous, unsupervised self-driving.
That's what I'm talking about. So like
that,
taking the kids to soccer practice without dad in the car.
That's going to be scary, but I think it's coming. I mean, the taxis, they just revealed the taxis.
Waymo, right? Like Waymo has that technology, right?
Yeah.
Like that is a thing that's already happening. So like, do we see it being perfected within the next 2 years where you would trust it to take your kids to school?
I don't know. Chase says yes. I don't know at scale. I think we talked about drivers earlier. I think there's going to be early bloomers. I think there's going to be people that do it, and it's going to be bigger than it is today, obviously. but I don't know if it's going to be like an everyday household. Is that kind of what you might be thinking? Like, is it going to be built into all the cars, and is everything just going to be moving around like the Jetsons or whatever? I don't think we're that.
You're going to have to have hardware 4 or hardware 4, because hardware 3 is not even capable.
Yeah.
So they're working on like, are they going to replace all hardware 3 with hardware 4 for free based on this if you bought, the self-driving feature? But I truly think like it's coming faster. Like they're already running this in Texas right now, and they just released the taxis too that are completely the same as Waymo. I'd be hard pressed to say in the next 2 years that he doesn't release it to like other states at least.
Yeah.
That is what one of the things I'm interested in is like that piece, the driver piece of it, because one of my hires early on in my business before I had like upper level management was a driver. And it sounds crazy, but that was because I was still doing so much of the admin work that it was beneficial for me to pay somebody $20 an hour to drive me around and be able to work on my computer than it was to hire somebody to try to do those tasks that I was doing. Mm-hmm. And if I had a fucking driver that was not a person, that didn't cost me any money besides whatever the car costs you, that would be, and you can sit there and not get in trouble by the car, because that's what happens. Like the car just yells at you and yells at you and yells at you until you pay attention again. But if I could have that and just sit in the passenger seat and this car takes me around to all my projects for the day, like that's a huge game changer for me.
I'm already thinking forward focus. What about freight?
So there's a guy that I follow on TikTok in Las Vegas. He tripled down on this. He bought 6 Teslas last year. He Ubers and pays other people to Uber his Teslas around right now. But he's thinking once Elon releases the unsupervised self-driving, now he's just going to have a fleet of Teslas driving around, picking up people and Ubering them around.
Yeah.
But same thing with freight too.
Yet, right?
The hardware's there. It's about the software and the safety.
But you said safety. The 3 versus 4.
Yeah.
So like
last year was hardware 4 still.
Okay, so the newest version is out.
I think 2024 was the last year of hardware 3.
Okay, so the newest hardware is out on the road right now for Tesla.
Yeah.
And that is the one that's capable of doing the fully autonomous.
Yes, they haven't released it yet for safety concerns.
Yeah, I just think freight, like California to Maryland, big 18-wheeler. I just think like I remember, I guess, years ago, like my stepdad's a truck driver, and I never knew, like in our household, they didn't really talk about it or whatever. I don't know what he made, but I was always told, I guess, that truck drivers are like, it's a good paying job. That's an area of optimism. I think that's going to be huge. What about a plane?
Cost of goods. Cost of goods going down because of all of this.
So you would think for sure. I just don't think our government/economy as a whole is kind of adapting to that. We talk about the job loss. Something's going to happen. You're going to have to do something. That's where I don't know. I got a lot of conspiracies on that of what I think might happen. But you say 2 years. I say 5 years. I give it like a couple more years. I say 5 years. It's going to look a hell of a lot different. 2 years, a little bit. 5 years, I think, is a much wider net to see massive, and I mean like shape-shifting massive changes into just how we live every day. You said it's Google search, and now, our generation's kicking into AI. I believe in the work that we do, keeping it on business. I think that the work that we do, you said like you're going to get left behind. I think you're not going to have a choice in 5 years. In 5 years, you're not going to have a choice because it's going to be so expensive to keep full staff and payroll and labor or whatever when all these other companies and other resources are making more and growing faster and, just access to everything that is available. If you don't leverage it and you don't take advantage of it, you inevitably are going to be left behind. It's not even like it's going to be an accident. Like you just are.
It's not going to be left behind. You're going to be out of business.
Yeah.
Because just like the robot that you were talking about hanging drywall. Well, if your guy can come in and you have one robot hanging drywall
24 hours a day.
How much lower can you be competitively than the guy that's still having like 4 or 8 people come hang drywall, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's literally going to be unsustainable.
Yeah. I'm excited because I feel like I'm on the right side of that kind of play, but I am like concerned on what it's going to do for the overall. And Elon's been big on like, we're going to have such a productive society that we're going to have to just give money away to people because we're not going to have any other way to keep them busy. Like that's what Elon's saying. Like we're going to need to get to universal basic income because AI and computers and robots are going to take over so much of society that people aren't going to have a purpose anymore. That's like
I could see it.
It's like a whole nother level of crazy, but Elon's been right about some things before, and I kind of trust what his vision is on this stuff.
I got some fire shot questions for you real quick. How long, how many hours a day are you spending on AI?
I was going to say 8 to 10.
How long did it take you to build out your AI agentic agents?
That's a good question. Because it's like periodically, like you work on it here and there, but gun to my head, definitely probably maybe over 80 to 100 probably. Hours. Yeah, because if you think about it, like I'm just thinking that one specific one, because I have probably 7 total projects, so to speak. And if it was a rat race, like the building quotes workflow started a month ago, and that was the first one, like, because that's where I think if you're talking to a business and you say, what's the most time sucking activities? I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm paying people to build the quote. They can take more phone calls and they can outbound and do more things with their time while the quotes are being built. That's the first one I want to check off the list. So that was kind of the first one to come. And if it's been over, I would say close to a month, and every day, every week, it's way less maintenance now, but the first 2 to 3 weeks, I mean, I was like, I would run it on a batch, fix this, run it on another batch, fix it every single day, getting that better. So from an accuracy perspective and like functionality and like, can you just let it run? I would say now we're at the point where I can run it, and it still gets confused, but I think the percentage and like law of averages, like it's so much more beneficial. So that one's at the top of the chain. Email, I told you, I've only been using for probably 2 weeks. So I still have to kind of work on like, it needs more examples of what comes in. Delete this? No, never delete those. Now he remembers, don't delete that. So like, I just think it takes more time. The SEO is active and working. It's on a schedule based.
Does your AI has pronouns? You said he.
I said he, yeah. I don't have a name for
I don't
him.
know, guys.
Jarvis.
It.
I think it's got to be an it now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say he.
Yeah.
Just assuming that men AI are smarter than women AI, Jett?
Oh my God, don't do this to me.
Let's see how many sentences it takes to get Jett canceled.
No, you just build an AI bot that gets you uncanceled, right?
Yeah.
How to uncancel me after mispronouncing or misgendering my AI software.
Yeah.
So basically you're saying with a little bit of time, it will, on the front end, the back end is there's no end. It's infinity.
I think so.
And then for Claude, right? When you build these bots on your local computer, are you on like the $20 a month membership? Or are you on the max? What plan are you?
I'm on the max, yeah.
So you're spending like $200 or $100?
100, yeah, because it's 5x or 20x, and so far, I was timing out on the Pro.
Yeah.
I think I bypassed free because free was super, like it wasn't even limited enough to even get started. So then I went to Pro and I kept hitting the limits.
Where I'm at now.
On Pro,
yeah,
dude, Max is it's the way to go.
I will be in a rabbit, dude. It's already like at night. I'm like, and my wife's like, "Are you coming to bed?" I'm like, "Yeah, one more. Hold on."
Yeah,
you're like trying to dial something in.
So I have Claude Cowork on the desktop application over here, and then just because I can kind of simultaneously do something, I will like prompt it over here on this workflow, and then I'll have it on the browser in chat, working and building something over there. And just kind of like by the time this one's done, I'll jump over and I build kind of 2 things at once. So yeah, like I think the first phase is just trial and error. It's literally like, what do I want to automate? What can I do? What can I build? And just get it started. The second one is kind of the tweaking. And then the third, I think you definitely need a point of release. So like right now, like the quotes, if I didn't want to keep working on it, it gets the job done. I could sell it. I could, teach someone how to do it. I think it's very, very functional with how I use it every day. But the way that I am, like I still, like I'm going to keep making it better and better and better. Same thing with the SEO workflows, same thing with the prospecting tools, all of them. I want to say I have about 7 right now that I'm using every single day and tweaking and getting better. But in terms of completion, like rocking and rolling, doesn't need me at all. That's where I got to the personalization. I want to be in review of things. Like I don't want it, automating just yet. So that's why on the email one specifically, I don't even let it touch my email, even though it could if it wanted to. With the replies, I have them draft them in there first, and it's not drafting in the email, Zoho mail. It's drafting in Claude and says, this is what I think you should say. And then I'll correct it there and then just say, yep, now it looks good. Go ahead and send it. It can do all the sending and the archiving and the deleting on its own. I just still want that review phase. So give it a couple weeks and then I'll run that one, a lot smoother and a lot faster.
How much of the Claude usage does it take now that you have the backend memory stored on your computer? Is it about the same as it would be if you just did everything on Claude?
Sorry, one more time?
So like now that you have your folders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your agent folders on your computer, how much usage does that take? Does it still take the same amount?
Oh, no, yeah, it's not bad at all.
Okay.
No, because it's essentially their reference documents. So
I guess my question, right? Like I don't have those folders, those agent folders yet, but I just use its stored memory or the chat file for it, and that takes a lot of usage because it's got to go back and reflect on the chats or the projects, right?
Yeah.
Is it about the same for it to reflect on those agent folders or no?
I don't know specifically, but I will say I think it's a lot easier. I don't have any limit issues or timeouts or whatever, or anything like of confusion, because I think once it knows how to specifically do something, I think when it was getting confused before, like the first time running the quotes one, it didn't have all the how-tos. Like it had to, like you had to connect it, you had to integrate it, you had to teach it, you had to give it the missing information and the loopholes. So the more he kept the more it kept spinning in circles and going around and around, I think maybe at that point it was burning up more. But at this time, it's a lot faster because it's systematic. It knows what it's doing. It knows, I need to reference this first, then I need to do this. So the more systematic that it is, it's working a lot faster.
Yeah. Yeah, I need the 5X. I just can't stomach paying 100. It's like 125 a month or something, but yeah, I know it'll be worth it if I do.
It's super. It's worth every penny. It's $1,200 a year is the way I look at it, and what the output is worth. Like it's a rip. Yeah. It's so cheap compared to what it can actually output.
I need to get better at having the connectivity piece and like doing the more of the co-work stuff, because I feel like now I'm not at your level. Like I'm just now scratching the surface of actually having it run tasks for me and have like folders and stuff that it remembers. And I'm still on the browser folders. I don't have anything besides it organizing my downloads. I don't have it doing anything in my like local folders. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be my next step.
The other thing I just thought about is like you said something about BuilderTrend not having an OpenAI, but couldn't you just use Claude on Google Chrome and it go into like it logs into your BuilderTrend and then it creates the proposal?
So I don't know the answer to that question. I asked Claude and it basically told me in a roundabout way no. But again, like I am not the right person to try to make that happen.
It can, yeah. And so I've used Claude in Chrome. It's kind of honestly like a back-end resource that when it can't find the answer through the MCP connector, like if it has a tool that says, update this field and it doesn't understand it, it'll say, let me open up your browser. You allow access and it'll pull up the tab. I'm telling you, that's where I think we still are a bit a ways, but I don't see it being that far off. When you watch this thing take control of your computer, I'll give you an example. We have a little checkbox that big to apply sales tax to our quote. When I was building out the build quotes workflow, it had to check that box. Well, it didn't know how to do it natively through the MCP connector. So then it said, let me try it on the browser. I watched, because if you see it, you watch it chat over and it'll tell you what it's doing. It'll say, I'm looking for the sales tax box. Oh, I found it. Now I'm going to attempt to click it. Oh, I missed. Let me try again. Like it literally talks it out. And that's the browser method, like trying to actually control the browser. So I think it technically 100% could do that, just like it could route for us in our other software that doesn't have API connection. So I don't have it to our...
All right, I'm going to try it when I get home.
Yeah,
I'll try it.
It's slow as hell, though.
It is slow.
Very, very slow. There's a lot of learning
It'll
still
be
involved
like
in that.
scrolling now.
Yes.
And it's like, can't find the scroller. I'm
It's
like,
very,
oh my
very
goodness.
slow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will report back on the next podcast about how we can integrate it, because I've been talking to Claude about how I could use it in Buildertrend, and I haven't had a good solution yet. So maybe I have to connect it through Chrome, which I did make that connection, but I don't think I've given it enough maybe prompts or feedback or whatever to have it actually go into my leads, open up a proposal, build it out, and have it ready for me based on like my past 200 estimates that I wrote or whatever. So to be determined. Jett, how can people find you to get in touch with you to either talk about AI or if they need rentals, event rentals? But I feel like most people that are going to be listening to this are probably going to contact you right for the AI stuff.
Yeah. Instagram at Jett_Hennigan. But just link. It's so much easier if you just link it to the podcast.
I'll link it to the podcast.
No one knows how to spell my last name until I.
Or if you go
plug it
to
in.
Dreamers Event.
Dreamers Event Rentals.
Yeah, dreamersevent.rentals.com. You can, in some way, shape, or form, get in touch with.
He'll have an AI connect you.
Yeah, yeah, Rosie. All right, if this comes out before Cinco de Mayo, we have an event coming up May 5th. It should come out this week. So you guys, if you're listening to it and you're around May 5th, 9515 Deerco Road in Timonium, we are having a Cinco de Mayo themed event. There might be sombreros. There might be tequila. There's going to be free food, tacos.
Definitely be good tacos.
There's going to be some real good tacos. Everything is free. We are covering the costs, and our sponsors are covering the cost of all that stuff. So come out, network, business, real estate, all of the things that we do. If you're listening, you know what we do already. And we'll see you next time.